Hello everyone, welcome to another Monday live stream. My name is Shane Olson, and today we're going to be sculpting this great design by Rich Cameron. And I'm excited to do this one. I don't really do textured characters very much, and I saw that this guy had some texture on the surface. Thought it might be kind of fun. So yeah, let's get to it. Welcome again. And hey, what's up, Neil? Welcome. All right. What's going on, Neil? What's new? All right, let's see. How we start with a sphere, and then I'm just gonna kind of scale this up and get us our initial body shape. I love it's it's almost like a Christmas tree, this cone. Hey, welcome. What's up, Mark? All right, well, we got that. Let's keep it going. Does it say Layla still? Oh, I got to do it again. One second, sorry, I'm changing the... I tried to change it earlier, but it didn't take. Okay, here we go. Does that work? Oh, you did, Mark. All right. That better, Alex? Did that work? Does it read better? It doesn't look like it. Still says insect inspired creature, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's go from the side. I want to kind of bend it into this pose here. I'm going to use the Move Infinite brush and just kind of push it forward this way and kind of back. Kind of get this big body shape, Christmas tree, whatever's going on here. I love he's got this like this thing on the back of his head. I guess that is his head. Can you? I cannot speak Hindi. No, sorry. English only. Need to get some Hindi sculptors on here. Okay, you guys, can you see this color? Is that okay if I use this color? But only opened it twice. I need to do some... I think if you watch the Michael Pavlovich videos, he does a good job on getting it up and running. Okay, these arms are just in weird locations, and the legs are... I'll do my best trying to match that up. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try and start with these feet first. I cannot speak Hindi. Sorry. Not that you can understand what I'm saying. Okay. Get this. Now I need to, oh, let me see. I'll clip this off maybe. Like this. And then I want to widen these feet. So I'm just taking my move brush and just kind of scooting it out a little bit. And then I can smooth down the top so it's too fast on my smooth brush. If I had to make my portfolio, how much I have to spend my time on it? Like how many hours? Like that's a yeah, that's a really, really broad question. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do. Like, do you have anything in your portfolio right now? I don't know what your skill level is or anything like that. So it's really a difficult question to answer. And the whole reason for a portfolio is to show companies that you can do the work that they need you to do. So the answer is however long it would take you to do that. Oops. Need to fill this. Does a display tablet really improve your sculpting? No. So the only thing that I believe improves your sculpting is time and practice and a tablet of some sort. So it doesn't have to be a display tablet. It can be just a Wacom, just whatever you can afford. All I advise is that you don't use a mouse, because a mouse will not give you variation of pressure. It's either on or it's off. So you need pressure with a pen. So the only thing a display tablet will help you do is it will help you get faster, because there's no offset. It's 1-to-1. Like your pen is touching the surface where you're going to put the stroke down. That's what you need. How many ways are there to draw a college head? I don't know what a college head is. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to form these feet out. Give him some toes here in a minute. Give it kind of a foot shape here. Let's scoot it in a little bit. There we go. And we'll just flatten the bottom like that. And then put some toes in there. I think I'm going to split these feet off into their own subtool. There we go. That way I can make sure they remain the same color as whatever these feet color, the foot color. Is hard surface modeling necessary in industry to be a character artist? It depends on what you want to do. Again, I would say yes, because oftentimes as a character artist, you're modeling props like guns and swords and armor and helmets and things like that. So I would say yes. Make these toes really big and funny. Maybe not that big. Gotta make room for the rest of them. If any of you are interested in downloading my user interface, my ruler file, and my brushes, You can see these brushes right here. These are my brushes. You can go get them on my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. You can see it above my head. 3D Character Workshop. I give those away for free over there if you want to go get them. I have been giving those away for the last, I want to say 7 years. A lot of people use them. So I'm going to kind of curl this toe under. Actually, I think I want to try something out here. How many ways are there? Please don't spam the, oh, you're saying clothes. Clothes head? How many ways are there to draw a clothes head? Yeah, sorry, Katja, I still don't understand what you're trying to ask. I apologize. I don't know what a clothes head is. Okay. Thanks, Neil. Okay, so I'm going to try and mask this off. Like this, and then bend it down. Like this, and then just kind of smooth it out. I'm just trying to get, let me do it even more masking. Okay. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the fold. See this little fold underneath this little toe? That's what I'm trying to do, is get that little fold. Like that little tight fold. But I don't want to break what's happening up top here. So what I can do is just kind of smooth it out and even out the geometry across the surface. Looks like a little pill bug. And then just kind of pull the knuckle, the toe knuckle up. Something like that. Okay. And just make it kind of appear there. Center it. What's up, Howie? Did you see the movie Argyle? The author has some stylized figures of her characters that instantly made me think. I have not. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for that. Okay, so when you duplicate something, it will duplicate the same polygroup like this. And if you want to keep that polygroup, that's fine. But usually I want to not keep that polygroup. I want it to be its own polygroup so I can select it. And how you do that in a really quick way is just to hold down Control and invert your mask like this, and then hit Control W, and it will put that new object in its own group. The only problem is it gets rid of the masking, so I want to remask it. But now I can isolate just that one, which is nice. Those little toes. Such a cute bugger. Hey, K9, how's it going? Welcome. Okay, so I'm going to make his legs now, just these little legs. And they're cylinders. I typically shy away from using an actual cylinder for my cylinders just because the way I have my cylinder set up, it's just a little it's a little difficult because the way they're created, but I think I'm going to use a sphere and then I'll just shape it into a cylinder. It's a bit more organic. Okay. Oops, I'm going to use a different color. And what I can do too is as you drag these objects out, if you don't let go and you start to push in, it will do it will scale it unevenly on 2 axes and leave the other one alone. That's the longest name I've ever seen on Twitch. Why don't you make it as a macro to invert mask and polygroup mask and assign a hotkey for that? I could, but I'm lazy. It doesn't, when I'm in my zone and I'm just working, it doesn't bug me. I just do it really fast, and it's done. But that's not a bad idea. I might think about doing that. Okay, so let's see. I'm just trying to decide on this leg connection, if I want it to come out from the bottom of the cylinder or from the side like he's drawn it here. And I'm kind of tempted just to float it on the side because it's funny. Like that. Hey, Lucas, I think I get this question about every time I stream. And that's totally fine. I was just going to say, if you want, you can watch my other streams back and see. But just a short answer about it is I don't know yet. Half of me is grumpy about it because of, yeah, it's sourcing stuff unethically. And it's taking jobs from people. Not cool. But on the other hand, I can see it being used in okay ways if people like can figure it out and use it ethically. But I haven't seen that really happen too much. Okay, I'm just going to push this over here like this. So I guess my mentality right now is I'm grumpy about it a little bit, but I'll wait and see what happens. It's nice for learning things, helping me when asking questions. Oh yeah, text AI is it's pretty cool. It blows me away, to be honest. But artistic AI I'm not a fan of yet. It gives some really interesting results, that's for sure. Like maybe some ideas that I normally wouldn't have come up with on my own, which is cool. Like as a jumping off point. I've actually used it as a jumping off point to generate ideas, but you can't art direct it. It's not really possible. It just gives you a whole new thing. It doesn't iterate very well. How'd you choose your concept? What type of things do you look for in concept? I chose this concept because it has some really fun shapes, and I reached out to to Rich and I asked him if he would mind if I sculpted one of his designs, and he not only said yes, he sent me a bunch of his art and asked if I wanted to sculpt some more of his designs. So this is one of the ones he gave me to say, please sculpt my stuff. So I'm more than happy to. What I look for in concepts is something that's challenging, something that has some really fun shapes, something that I can definitely see the volumes. If it doesn't have volumes or if it's cheating too much, then it's hard to sculpt. So I look for well-designed concepts that I can definitely understand how to build the thing. Software tools, yeah, I've seen some of those, but it's like, if you want to just like change a little thing, then it's very difficult right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens later that you could change it, but yeah, for now it's just not quite there yet. I'm curious of your opinion, which is better for applying to jobs, keep up with LinkedIn or just email the studios directly? I would say both. There's no reason you couldn't do both. Especially if there's a studio, like a specific studio that you want to try and work for, just send your resume and reach out. You know, even if they're not hiring at the time, just to get your resume in their hands. Okay, let's see here. Let's get some arms going on, and then I'll do the face in a bit. Okay. I like these little legs, they're fun. Except for I need to, eventually I'll pull out, make it look like this. Instead of just ending at the bottom of this cone, I'll pull it out and make it look like hair. How much you practice in ZBrush back when you were in school? All the time. As much free time as I had, I was sculpting. I started, I've been doing this for about 25-ish years now. And I started out by doing modeling in 3D Studio Max, like pushing points around, polygon modeling. Hey, what's up, Rice? How you doing? Oh, no worries. For this concept, is it better to do the initial block out in Maya or Blender? No. No, it's way faster doing it in ZBrush. Way faster, in my opinion. But I'm talking, you know, I'm streaming and I'm talking to you guys and I'm answering questions. Usually a block out will take me about 30 minutes. In Maya, it would probably take me an hour, if I were to guess. I used Maya for about 15 years of my career. And that's how I used to model my characters. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but that's just my opinion. Any other ways to get visibility? You just post your stuff on places like ArtStation, and then get yourself an Instagram and post there. And like you said, LinkedIn's a great place. You know, starting a YouTube channel and showing your progress, like I am here, that surprisingly gets a lot of notice. Because YouTube, believe it or not, is the second largest search engine in the world, next to Google. And guess what? It's owned by Google. So YouTube results show up on Google results. So you'll get found that way as well. And you don't have to go live like I'm doing. You can do just make videos, you know, you can do just shorts, making turntables of your characters, or, you know, showing the process or whatever. Just make it entertaining to watch and make it so people come watch your stuff. Doesn't have to be crazy elaborate or anything like that. Just get out there, you know. What's that Disney quote? Hold on a second. I'm looking it up really quick. Maybe I'll have you look it up, Neil. It's something like do something, get so good at doing something that people will want to watch you do it again and again. Did you not get distracted with your girlfriend? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean that's why I said when you need to make time for it. But if you want to do, it's like practicing anything, you know, like if you're practicing guitar or something like that, or if you want to get good at something, you need to practice. You can't just decide, hey, I'm going to be a character artist, and then you just be good at it. You know, you have to practice. Okay, I think I want to do palms down like I usually do. So I'm going to rotate this and just do maybe palms sort of back. Hey, what's up, Jerome? How you doing? Yep, time on task. Like practice. How does the saying go? Like I want to say practice with intent. It's not just practice for practice sakes. Yeah, but you can, there's people that just kind of do it to do it with no intention, no guides, no goals. And it's best to set up goals, like getting better at anatomy, for example, or even a specific thing, a specific piece of anatomy, like how the deltoid ties into the biceps and triceps, something that you want to get better at. Just focus. There you go. There's the Disney quote. Whatever you do, do it so well. Oh, whatever you do, do it well. Do it so well that when people see what you do, they will want to come back and see you do it again. And they will want to bring others and show them how well you do what you do. Right? Yeah, that's an awesome quote by Disney there. What type of test give studio? Sometimes studios will give you tests just to make sure that you can do what they need you to do. They'll most often they'll give you a piece of concept and they'll want you to sculpt it or make it into a final asset that they can use. Especially if your portfolio doesn't show that you can do what they need you to do, they'll ask you to do a test to prove it. Michael Jinx, when you run out of storage space filled with 3D projects, how do you organize space for future projects? First of all, make sure you're saving your Z tools and not Z projects, because Z projects can get gigantic and they can fill your storage space like very, very quickly. Okay, so yeah, that's, if you hit Control S, that is saving a project. Okay, so you can save a Z tool up here. In fact, I'm going to save one right now. So if you go, and they're called ZTLs. Okay, and also quick save files will take, because they save as projects, they take up a lot of space as well. And you can go into your preferences and go to quick save, and you want to turn down the max number of quick save files to say between 5 and 10, something like that. Okay. And that will only save, like I have it set to 5 in every 20 minutes. So every 20 minutes, it will save 5 quick save files. And every time it reaches the limit of 5, it will start over and overwrite the first one and go through them again. And it, otherwise you're going to fill up your hard drive with save files. What's the difference between a tool and a project? So a Z tool is the way ZBrush saved files in the very beginning, and they added Z projects later on in the development to save things like history and brush settings and things like that. The only project that I save is my ruler file. So if you open up this Lightbox, this is called Lightbox, you hit your comma key and it'll open up Lightbox. You can see my ruler right here. This is a project file. Okay, so it's under projects right here. And it's .prg is the 3-letter thing. And I like to save everything, like my startup settings, in my ruler file. So everything, like all of my brush slider settings and a whole bunch of stuff like that, and my background, that's all saved in my ruler file. So what I do when I open up ZBrush, every single time I will double click on this and I start with my ruler file, and then I'll start sculpting inside that ruler file. That way I have the same environment every single time. Just deleted my quick saves yesterday. Yeah. And then if you still don't have enough space, just buy an external hard drive and save all your stuff out to that. Let's see. I was trying to sculpt on an imported model and got this error. Do you know how to fix it by chance? Mesh shape layers, turn off. Yeah, that means you have a layer and it's not in record mode. So just make sure that go check your layers right here under layers, and make sure that this layer, you either collapse it, get rid of it, or you turn on record mode so it'll record into it. Okay. Continuing sculpting here. Okay, with this hand, I'm just going to pull out these fingers rather than block them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Sculptress Pro mode, which is basically dynamic topology mode. And I'm basically going to flood fill these with dynamic topology. So let's do that now. Let's see. I'm going to apply this dynamic subdivisions and get rid of it because dynamic subdivisions do not work well with dynamic topology. Okay, go to geometry, delete lower. Now we have this. And you know, this is good enough geometry. This is dense enough that I can do what I want to do. I'm just going to grab the snake hook brush. Turn off RGB. I don't want RGB. Jerome, several of the students have reached out and said how much they enjoyed that. Okay. So snake hook and then pull these out. Just like so. Usually Ashley shows up whenever I say snake hook. I have to say it 3 times. Okay. And the thumb over here. Oops. The hardest character I've ever done. That's a good question. There's been a few, but recently I've been doing some caricatures for some freelance work, and I've been trying to get the likeness of Biden, and that has been just kicking my butt. I don't know why I'm struggling with his likeness so much, but I definitely am. Okay. I think I'm pretty close, but crank this down. That's a little too heavy. I'm using Sculptress now. That's what this is right here. Dynamic geometry. And I just kind of paint over the areas where I want more or less geometry. Like this. Hey, Magnum. Do you see every project through to the end, or do you choose to stop? I stop on some, but most of them. It depends on. So with these live streams, I try to get a character done in 1 or 2 live streams, just because it's more entertaining that way. Sometimes I'll do a longer version or a full character, like I don't know if you can see it, but this pirate girl back behind me, or this cowboy right here. I did both of those on stream. And this mouse right here, I did him on stream. And but sometimes I will reach a point where there's only a little bit left to do. There's not much left to do, and I won't stream that little bit extra. And sometimes I forget about it and I don't finish it. I feel like more and more concept artists sculpt their concepts instead of drawing. I haven't seen too much of that yet. I know some concept artists that will utilize 3D, but yeah, I haven't seen it too much. I typically still see concept artists using just drawing or painting. They use digital, like Procreate or Photoshop or whatever, but yeah. Yeah, like they'll block out. I've seen a lot of concept artists will block out stuff in 3D and then paint over it. Do you have previous streams where you prepare your models for 3D printing? I'm not sure if I do. Did I go over that, Neil? I've been streaming for how long? I want to say 6 years on this channel. Almost every Monday for 6 years, so I'm sure No, it's not okay to pirate ZBrush. You're asking on the Maxon, the official Maxon channel. That's like the worst question you could ask. Sorry, but no. Oh, goodness. Just pay for the subscription. It's not that much. Okay, so there's our hands. Thanks for your ruler. You're welcome. Yeah, it's good to hear. Thanks. Sorry, 1 second. Let's unhide all this and see where we're at. I think these hands can be much bigger. Yeah, ZBrush Core is another option. But honestly, I don't know if I would learn ZBrush Core out of the gate. I would try and figure out a way to get the full version. I mean, like I said, the subscription isn't really a crazy amount. But please don't pirate it. That's not the ethical way to go. All right, let's see. Mirror and weld. And now that we have this blocked out, I'm going to Z-remesh this whole thing again, just to give myself some clean topology. I think before I do that, though, I'm going to get into doing some of the face, maybe digging the mouth in. For freelance work, do you usually do retopology and texturing? It depends on what the job calls for. So recently, I've been using a product, a software that goes alongside of ZBrush, utilizes ZBrush quite a bit, called Character Creator, and it has a base mesh that you can send back and forth between ZBrush and Character Creator. And basically, if you use their base mesh, then it basically comes with the topology, nice topology. And if you push it back and you don't mess with the topology too much, it will auto rig it. So it's really nice. All right, I love this mouth. It's so fun. And I'm just going to pushing it in, and then smoothing it back down, cranking up the smooth power. There we go. And this is what it's actually looking like under the surface, because I'm using Sculptress Pro. Smooth out this face a little bit more. And I'm going to pull this, looks like this top lip is coming out a ways. So I'm going to grab the move brush and just kind of pull it out. I like how those teeth have, he's got a gap in his teeth and sharp canines. It's great. All right. And for these brows, what a funny head. Okay, so for these brows, I'm just going to take this fill brush, compliments of SK. SK is another streamer on here, and this initially started out as one of his brushes. I just kind of edited it to my liking more. And with this flatten brush, I love this fill brush because it works. It's basically a clay brush. Yeah. I can't pronounce his name, so I just call him SK. He was at the ZBrush Summit one year. He's a great guy. That's funny. All right, so I just want to get some nice sharper edges on here. I'm just using this detail brush. This detail brush is a lot like the Damn Standard brush, if you've ever used that. It's just a little cleaner. If you ever use the Damn Standard brush and you draw like around a corner, sometimes it looks like a sewing machine. It leaves these little dots or even these little slices. And this one's a bit smoother. Again, you can download these brushes from my website, 3D Character Workshop, for free. Okay, and I can also come around these lips and just kind of give them an edge. Kind of reminds me of, I've been watching these animations. I can't remember the channel on YouTube does these animations, and they like just do these really fun shorts talking about like Baldur's Gate and Elden Ring. They're 2D animations, and they're kind of remind me of this guy. Okay, let's give him some ears. Man, I might be done with this guy much quicker than I thought I would. It's quite simple. I'll take some time and do some texture work on him. Your UI and brush pack has been my go-to for a few years. Oh, thanks. That's everything you need. Yep, that was the whole idea. I mean, I used this, well, I've used this interface and brush settings for the last, I want to say 9 years, and I just keep tweaking on it and perfecting it to my liking, and then I share it. Do you consider making fan art good for your portfolio if you want a job in collectibles? I mean, you can. Just make sure well, if it's a big corporation, you can't really ask permission, but as long as you call out, where it's from, who owns it, and you don't do the character disservice and you're not selling it. Those are the things. So essentially, you don't want to infringe on their copyright. But if it's a fan art of somebody who is like a particular designer, like our Rich Cameron right here, reach out and ask him if it's okay if you sculpt one of their pieces. That's what I typically do. I do that for almost every stream that I do. And that works for great portfolio pieces. Just scour the internet for some great designs, character designs. I think I'm going to go a little bit tighter on these polygons. There we go. Oh, thanks, Mark. Yeah, that's SK. How much time does it take for you to learn anatomy? I mean, it can take a lifetime, right? That's not the answer you want to hear, but it's true. But it all depends on how fast you learn, what your resources are. But reference is king. Like, use good reference. Anatomy for Sculptors is a fantastic resource. Prokopenko. Proko.com is a great resource for anatomy. But I'll be learning anatomy until the day I die. I'll just be honest with you right now. You never stop learning that stuff. So you're never done learning it. And a lot of people think you don't have to learn anatomy if you're doing stylized characters, which is absolutely untrue. Stylized characters are based 100% on anatomy. Like, for example, the ear placement right here, it still follows the same rules as an ear placement of a regular human, where, you know, the center of the head, that's where it attaches. And coming back from the tops of the eyes, that's where it attaches. The same. So if you know those things, then you're, you know, you're good. Okay. Teeth time. I'm gonna start with a cylinder for these teeth. Let's grab this white color. It's pretty white. Well. What resources do you use for anatomy reference? The ones I just mentioned. So anatomy for sculptors, proco.com. There are a lot of great ones. I like Grizz and Norm's stuff for their simplicity. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. Let's see, split unmasked points. I like using Pinterest because there's a lot you can find on there, and you can find some that kind of, just because there's so much out there, you can find some that speak to you personally, you know, as far as how you like to learn, what makes the most sense. And just to kind of humbly self-promote, I teach a course called the 3D Character Workshop. That's what's above my head, and I have a module fully dedicated to anatomy, learning anatomy. So, oh, this is some of my work. So I'll just show you really quick. This is my website. This is where you get the brushes right here. Just gonna log in really quick. Okay. Goodness sakes. Sorry, I haven't logged in for a minute. Okay, so with my course, you get all this stuff. This is the main course right here. And there's stylized anatomy right here. Anatomy training. Stylized hands and face and mouth and teeth and all the things. Yep, I talk about all the stuff. So if you're interested, go to my website and check that out. Okay, group by normals. I'm gonna hide the top and the bottom. We're gonna turn on double so we can see it. Delete hidden. Oops, that's not what I want. Select lasso. I'm going to delete these back 4 polygons, maybe back 5. Okay. Delete hidden. So now we just have this arced piece right here. And then I'm just going to use my ZModeler brush to extrude this out. Go extrude, polygroup all. And I'm just going to pull them out like this. Okay. And now I'm going to give him I'm going to give him the canines, and then I'm going to duplicate it and then add the gap to the top set. Okay, so if I turn on dynamic, you'll see it looks like this. It has some creases on it right now, which I love the creases in ZBrush, but they're a little too sharp. See those sharp creases? So let's do some editing to these teeth. Get them to look more like teeth and less sharp. So I'm going to do uncrease all, get rid of the creases. Now if I subdivide it, it looks like this. But now they're way too soft. And I can turn up the amount that it's getting subdivided right here by, let's go up 1, maybe 2 more. So it's being subdivided by 4 times. Now it's way smooth. And let's give them these little pointy canines. So I'm going to turn off dynamic for a minute. and look at it from the front. Looks like those canines are somewhere in here. I'm just going to insert a new edge right here. You'll notice when you insert an edge, it just puts it on that flat panel like this. It doesn't continue that arc around. So I need to grab my move brush and just kind of scooch these little points. Oh, come on. Sometimes they're stubborn and don't want to scooch. All right. And then this bottom one right here, I want to extrude, not everything, just a single poly like this. Now, I can either smooth it, whoops, without sculptures on. Smooth it, that's too fast. There we go. And it just kind of makes it into a point, pull it down a bit more, smooth it. Now if I run my dynamic smoothing on here, hey, what's up, Leonard? It will look like this. Little canine teeths. All right. So I do want to edit these teeth and make them a little more, have a little more interest. What I like to do is, and a shout out to my buddy John Diesta for this. Basically, I'm going to take the bottom and squeeze it in, and take the top and pull it out. So I'm going to turn off symmetry for a second so I can get this gizmo right in the middle. And then I'm going to squeeze this in like this. And then from the front, or from the side, I'm going to pull the front back like this. Thanks for popping in. You got some yard work, huh? Man, I don't have any yard work because it's winter. My favorite time of year for no yard work. So what that does is it creates kind of this angle like this, and this angle from the front down. And now what I can do is duplicate these teeth. So now we have a top set and a bottom set. And we'll turn off symmetry. It's already turned off. So then we can spin it around like this. Holding down shift to snap, we can snap it around. And then move it down into place. It's pretty funny. Just tuck it back in there. I want to pull this bottom jaw out just a little bit, not too much because there's no real bottom jaw here, but just to make room for these teeth, I want to do it. Something like that, just to kind of give it a little bit of a something to catch those teeth, give them a home. Okay. Weeds. Oof. Weeds are my nemesis. Okay, now we can just draw that tongue in there. Just make sure I'm on the right subtool and grab this pink color. Now, I know some of you are new here, so I always like to kind of repeat things that I come across that you might not know. And if you want to, hey, what's up, Ian? If you want to eyedrop a color off of your spotlight image right here, you need to make sure that you can see the ring. This is the spotlight ring, okay? Just by hitting Z to show it. And then you hit C to hover over. See how the color, the swatch right here is changing depending. I can even grab these colors, you know, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to grab the pink of this tongue. Then you just let go of C. You don't have to click. You just let go. And then hit Z again to hide the ring. And now I have a pink color loaded. And now when I insert my sphere, it's pink. Can your course be complete with Blender? Yes, it can. Nope. I have several students. I don't really want to talk about that too much because we're, you know, streaming on the official Maxon channel, but I will shortly just say, yes, it's possible. And I have several students that have done it. For example, the anatomy stuff, it doesn't matter what you use. Anatomy is anatomy. Whether you're using mashed potatoes, ice, snow, or ZBrush. Okay, so I'm gonna Split this off. That being said, in my opinion, ZBrush is way, way easier to get a hold of, to grasp. Because I always say there's kind of two sides to the coin. There's the artistic side and the technical side. The artistic knowledge sticks with you for your life, and the technical knowledge comes and goes, right? The artistic knowledge you're going to be honing for the rest of your artistic journey. That's the part that I was talking about that never ends. You're still just trying to get better and better with your art daily. But with technical, you know, like I said, I started out in 3D Studio version 3 on DOS. I've learned so many programs over the years, but I just apply my artistic knowledge to whatever product I'm using, whatever software I'm using. Whether that be in VR, on my iPad, in Dreams on the PlayStation, wherever, it doesn't matter. You started in 3ds R4 too? Nice. One of us. Oh yeah. Goodness, those were the days. Okay, I'm gonna just want to inset these ears a little bit more and turn them. I also learned on a software called TrueSpace. There was a landscape maker called Bryce. And I used this like Corel Dream something. I can't remember at the time. iPads plugin book. I actually contributed to a book on how to model in 3D Studio Max back in the day. Okay. Man, I love this song. It's what is it called? Synthwave. It's by a gunship called Carpenter Brute. It's so good. Wait for the Shane YouTube series with him sculpting in mashed potatoes. Yep. You know, it's fun because you can like carve pumpkins, you know, it doesn't really matter what the medium is. Okay. I don't want a pink nose. I want a little brown nose. Brown noser. Okay, so with this, it just kind of looks like pressed in clay. So I'm just going to go like this and just kind of make a little nose. You listen to that too? Yeah, I like The Midnight and Gunship, and like one called 86 or something. Really good stuff. It's got these really unique harmonics in it. I love it. Okay, I don't want to turn on dynamic. Okay. I can hear him. Just gonna squeeze his head a little bit. Push his teeth in just a bit. I don't have symmetry turned on. That could come back to bite me. Yeah, I wish I could play it. If I played the songs I'm listening to, I'd get a copyright hit, and they would pull they would either mute or just block it completely. That's no good. Okay, for these little red eyes, these little asymmetric red eyes, I'm trying to decide on how I want to do those things. I think I'll start with a cylinder, like I always do. And we'll grab that little red color. That's pretty dang bright. Let's turn off Sculptress for a minute. And just insert them like this. Reminds me of the Yeti at Disneyland. Okay. I'm going to split these off. They're so funny. Oh. Gotta make sure I grab the eyeballs, not the head. Okay. Hey, what's up, Steven? How you doing? This guy looks hilarious. Yeah, that's true. Captain Underpants. Yeah, that's true. How you been? Thanks for stopping by. Okay, I'm trying to decide if I want to do like a darker red around the outside to kind of give them an outline. I think I'm going to. So how I'm going to do that is I'll just fill these with this red first. And then I kind of wish I could fill these faces with a color, but I can't. So how ZBrush works is with poly paint, each dot holds a color. Okay, so if I switch to a darker red like this, and I switch to my paintbrush, if I paint, you can see how this little red dot is kind of snapping to the vertices underneath. It's going to paint one of those dots like that. So if I'm trying to get a crispy edge around this outside, it's not going to do it. It's going to make this really kind of soft edge because it's bleeding to its neighboring vertice like this. Look at that. Even if I turn on dynamic subdivisions, it's still, dynamic is just a preview. Whoops. It's just a preview of what it's going to look like subdivided. So I have a couple choices. What I can do is I can either actually add real subdivision levels. So if I go Control D, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, then I can get pretty tight edges like that. Okay. Second way I can do it is do that. Let me look and make sure I have. Okay, no subdivision levels. Another way I can do it is insert an edge. So I can grab the Z modeler and just insert an edge loop like this and get it really close. So the bleed from one dot to another is very short. So it won't bleed. And I think I might do that for now just so I can keep my geometry low. And then what I can do is I can go to this select lasso brush, hold down Control plus Shift and tap on these edges, and it will start to hide the rings like this. Okay. And once I do that, let me turn on double so we can see through. We have these two caps. And I want to hide this one. So now we only have the front, the piece that we want to keep that's bright red. And I'm going to hit Control W, and that's going to put it in its own polygroup. So now we have two polygroups. May not have been a student in the workshop and did most of my work in the forbidden software. It is possible to do, but mileage may vary depending on your knowledge. Yep, absolutely. Thanks for that, Stephen, by the way. Appreciate it. Okay. So now, I mean, it gives me a little, you can kind of see that sharp edge. What I can do is I can mask off this new polygroup now. And this, it's still going to give me a soft edge, but not as soft as it would have otherwise. So I can fill this, clear my mask, and now this is what it looks like. And from far away, it looks pretty dang sharp. And I'm happy with that. Now, Stephen, how long have you been in the course? You've been in there for quite a while, right? I love your work, by the way. You know this. If you want to post a link to your portfolio, feel free, Stephen. Just kind of show. I've been using your brushes for a while now, and I was wondering if you have any videos online explaining how you made them and what the difference is between yours and the ones that come with the ZBrush. Mike, I have not ever done that because, to be completely 100% honest, I forgot. I made them like 6-7 years ago, and I've made them over time. And most of the time they start as other brushes, and I tweak them all for my to my liking, you know, and just to how exactly I like to use them. And then I made these icons for them, like all these, so I could tell my old man eyes are too, they, you know, they're too old to view like previews like this. So I made these icons, and yeah, that's kind of where they ended up. So I didn't really think about it too much when I made them. But I just go into the brush settings and just start moving sliders around, trying to find, you know, like if I want it to do a certain thing, I'll just push it around. Okay, I'm just going to leave these eyes alone. I might shrink one and grow the other one, though, make them asymmetrical, because it's funny. You've been in there at launch. That's right. Holy cow. It's been that long. Okay, so I'm going to turn off symmetry, and I'm going to put this one in its own polygroup and this one in its own polygroup. Oops. Make sure I don't accidentally grab one of those. That way I can basically, well, I can mask this one off and then shrink this one. Yeah, it's been a minute. I think I first started, was that gosh, I'm trying to remember when I launched that course. Do you remember, Neil? Was it like 2000, I want to say 17. Is that right? Like March of 2017. It's been a while. Holy cow. All right, let's work on this head. Hey, Shiley, welcome to the stream. How do you check if your model is in the proper scale before exporting? That's a great question, and it depends on what you're wanting to do with it and where you're wanting to go with it. So, what program are you wanting to push it into? That will let me answer your question better. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this color, grab the body, and this appendage. Put this in here. Excuse me, there we go. Looks like he got bonked on the head. This is like a goose egg. (2017) joined in May. Wow. Maya. Okay. Perfect. So, not to be self-serving and pimp my own stuff, but I use my ruler file to make sure that I can go back and forth. There is GoZ, which is a plugin for ZBrush where you can go Z back and forth between Maya and ZBrush. But just for ease of explaining, I have this ruler file. I give this away for free. Yeah, Superman. Okay. You can see this ruler, and you can see that it says, well, it's basically 20 centimeters tall, or it's 200 millimeters tall, or since metric is utilizes tens, you know, you can use it as meters. So we have 1 meter and 2 meter. And I'm not saying that 20 centimeters equals 2 meters. You can, that would actually mean every tick is a centimeter, which means that this is 200 centimeters to equal 2 meters. Sorry, it's like I'm going off into math world. I apologize, but this is how I kind of explain it and describe it. And basically, I made this ruler in Maya, brought it over into ZBrush, And then I worked with Joseph Drust, who worked for Pixelogic at the time, to come up with this scene. And if I turn on the floor, you can see that this ruler file it's centered in the middle of this scene, unlike your typical ZBrush scenes where these grids will snap to the edges of your model and you really don't understand where 0, 0 is. But in this file, you know that 0, 0 is right at the base of this ruler. And then as long as you keep your character inside this ruler, then you know, well, you don't have to do something like this. But this is just the easiest way I've found to understand it. You can use the Scale Master plugin, which helps a lot of people. But for me, it's easier to do it with this physical ruler, especially if you're doing like 3D prints. So if you're doing 3D prints, you can use this ruler as millimeters, like 200 millimeters, and you can just export everything out with the ruler, and you select the ruler, and I'll just show you really quick, and I'll go back to talking about Maya. But if you select the ruler and you go to the 3D Print Hub plugin right here, you can see it says millimeters, and you just move the slider and you type in 200, and this is a known size. So as long as you keep your character within that ruler bounding box, and you export with the ruler selected and with this at 200 millimeters, your 3D print will be precise to real world scale. Okay, it will work great. Okay, so now back to talking about if you want to go to like Cinema 4D or Maya or Character Creator, anything that uses meters, you will go down here to the export scale, and you will look at this scale, and as long as it says 100, that means that it will go back and forth between Maya at the meter scale. It will go back and forth between Character Creator, Cinema 4D, whatever is in meters. As long as your other program is in meters, you can send it back and forth to there. And it's really convenient that way. But there's other programs like say Blender, for example. You would have to change this scale to 1. Okay, just type a 1. And the other one, if it's not working, you can try a 10. It's either 1, 10, or 100. It's never 1,000. That's too crazy. But usually it's 1, 10, or 100. So you can just kind of go back and forth. But the problem with this is the little the gotcha with this, is if you're ever appending one Z tool to another Z tool, like an item out of one of your projects here into another, it will use this scale to go from one to the other, and it will mess up your scale. So just make sure that when you're appending from one tool to another, that you change this scale number back to 1 if they're both in the same scale. Otherwise, it's going to mess it up. Okay. So anyway, that's how you use the ruler file. And now that just as long as we're on the subject of the ruler, let me show you some secret hidden little thing to measure stuff with it. If you show your gizmo right here, and you change it to the old transpose line by clicking on this button right here, ye old transpose line, if you guys remember this, this transpose line will actually show you the units. So if you look at this top left right here, it's showing you it's 200 millimeters tall. And what does that mean? That means you can measure your prints, your 3D prints. And you can measure the thicknesses, or you can measure how wide it's going to be or how thick it's going to be with this gizmo. Now, if you zoom on into it, you can see that it has all these little ticks. Each one of these ticks is a millimeter. So that's a really, really convenient way. As you can see, they match. It matches. And then if you look at the grid background, all of this is designed. But if you look at this grid background, each of these grids is a centimeter. Right, so it's all that's how you use it, and it's available for download over on my website, 3D Character Workshop, just right here. Okay, yeah, show your gizmo. Okay, so for this Yeti, if I was going to 3D print it, I would put him down onto the floor and scale him underneath the size of this ruler. If you need to print a character that's taller than 20 centimeters, you would just duplicate the ruler and then export it out at 400 millimeters. You just double it. essentially. So I made the big, like the Disney Infinity collector's base. It was like this big snow creature, and it was way bigger than this ruler. So yeah, it's good. Okay, any questions about that? I know that's sometimes that I try to explain it to people and their eyes glaze over. Okay. For low and high poly mesh for baking, what do you, is that a question? Okay. Let's close this and get back to working on the knot on his head. Which is hilarious. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and merge these two together, but before I do so, I'm going to fill it with Sculptris Pro geometry, kind of smooth it down. Let's crank up this intensity just to get rid of these polygons. Okay, it looks like his cranium's a little shorter than what I have it, so I'm going to edit that right now. For low and high poly mesh for baking, can I make high poly in ZBrush and then make a low poly for that with ZRemesh? I wouldn't use ZRemesh for your low resolution. I would actually do it by hand. If you're going to take it to, say, a game engine or film or something like that, if you're just going to 3D print it, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to be baking maps for something specific, ZRemesher will give you a good sculpting mesh. It will not give you a good deformable mesh for animation. It's not there yet. You suppose that's a bump from getting hit on the head? It looks like it. That's what I was saying. It looks like a goose egg, which is essentially a bump on the head. Okay, I'm gonna just move this down. That's weird. It brought in some some polygroups from somewhere. That's really strange. I'm just gonna fix that really quick. Auto groups. And then mirror and weld it. There we go. That usually fixes most things. I gotta turn off local symmetry before I do that though. Okay, there we go. And then use move infinite and turn on topological so I don't move that too much. Just kind of bring this down. Okay, and then like this. Yeah, yeah, it's his hairstyle. It's his man bun. Hey, what's up, Charlie? How you doing? Thank you so much. Okay, so gosh, I always forget. Which one is it, Neil? When I want to merge these two together, is it masking or hiding and showing? I want to say hiding. Masking. Okay. I got it wrong. Okay, so I'm going to hide these, mask everything else. Whoop. And then show this, and then I'm going to turn off symmetry, center the gizmo, reset the gizmo, and then click on remesh by union, which will stitch together everything that is not masked. I'll hit accept, and now the goose egg is stitched to the head. It doesn't look like it because it still has this nice tight seam. We're going to go ahead and turn symmetry back on and smooth it down. There we go. Too bad, just love watching you doing this modeling. Nice. Yeah, thanks, Neil. Neil's a fantastic help. Okay. I could do the same thing with this. Sorry about the S's. I'm listening to my own voice in here, and I'm like, oh, that's too hot of an S. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch in everything but the arms and legs. Do you own any resin printers, and how do you deal with the fumes? I do, Mike. I own 1, 2, 3. I own 4. I have a problem. I'm trying to get rid of 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. I only want 1. I deal with the fumes by cracking open a window, but what I'm wanting to do eventually is put it in my closet in this office and then vent that closet out to the outside. But I've seen my buddy Renault, he bought this is gonna sound funny, but he bought a grow bag, which is like for growing weed, you know, and they have like vents and lights, and they're all encased, and you put your printer in there, like you put your weed in there. And yeah, you just kind of keep it in there and vent it. Do you print any? Yeah, so all these behind me, either I printed them or my buddy Jake printed them. But yeah, all those are printed. Yeah, not suspicious at all. Okay. So I'm going to stitch the nose and the ears together, but not the arms and legs. I'll do that one more time. So remesh by union. Accept. Oh, come on. There we go. My printer's in one of those bags. Oh, nice. Okay. How does it work, Rice? I've been contemplating it, because it would be a lot cheaper than installing a vent, and it wouldn't. Oh, it helps with temperature control. Oh, yeah, it would. It would. Be in a weed bag. All right, turning symmetry back on and smoothing this out, this little transition. I love this guy. He makes me laugh. Somebody was asking me how I pick my concepts, and I forgot that if it makes me laugh, that makes me pick it. Have you tried printing your miniatures with filament? I don't have a filament printer, so I'd like one. I'd like to print like that's for larger, more durable things like masks and like D&D terrain. That's really good with filament, or like cosplay parts. That's good with filament. But for stuff like this, I want the surface to be as clean as possible. And the only way I can get that is with resin printers. So that's I have a Form 3. I have an older Form 2. I have a Saturn that I've Leonard's not here to make fun of me. I have a Saturn 2 that I've never pulled out of the box because I have the other 2 printers. So, and then I have an what is it called? An Anycubic, really, really tiny one that I got on a deal. I'm just like, oh, it's a sale, buy it. And I wish I hadn't, because I haven't used it. I always thought resin was stronger. It's not, well, in a way it is, but resin will shatter, or it can shatter. You can mix it with other types of resins to make it not do that, but the resin that I have, it's like porcelain. You drop it on the floor and it will just shatter. So it's very, very stiff and durable and you know, hard, but it will shatter like glass or porcelain, honestly. All right, Rise. Sure, I'd love to see it. Okay, I'm gonna give him his little skin wrinkle up here. Let's kind of turn this. You'll see me like spinning my models around. I also have a 3D connection mouse that I'll use occasionally. I use that more with other software, but any D&D exploits? Yes, actually. I've been playing with a new DM recently. My buddy Chris, he's a game producer / designer. Like video games. I worked with him in the video game industry a lot, and he was one of the players from the other game, my monthly game, and he's been running a weekly one digitally online, so we can play more often. We try to play once a week, and we've been using this this Chrome add-on called Above VTT, which is super cool. And it's a plugin, well, it's an add-on extension, whatever you want to call it, for Chrome that works like hand in hand with D&D Beyond. And so you can actually pull up your character sheets and stuff right in the VTT. VTT stands for Virtual Tabletop. And it just works extremely well. Okay, I'm going to turn Sculptress off for a second. I'm using Inflate to kind of close this gap here. Give him kind of a lumpy head. How often do you use your own concepts? Hardly ever, to be honest. The challenge for me is to take someone else's concept and bring it to life. And that's where I get my kicks, I guess you would say. That's what's most challenging for me. And also that's what has gotten me paid as a 3D character artist. I've always sculpted other people's designs. There are a lot of people that sculpt their own designs too. Like my buddy Danny Williams. He's like a triple threat. All right. Still seems a bit tall, but it's working out. Yeah, Steven's great. It's like it's crazy to me because D&D Beyond and Wizards of the Coast, they're designing their own kind of VTT light. It's kind of like Owlbear Rodeo. Owlbear Rodeo is another VTT that just has the bare bones. You can drop images, roll dice, and keep track. And it has like Fog of War and keep track of your combat order, you know, and that's all it has. And D&D Beyond, they're trying to make their own, but then Above VTT has already done it, and they've integrated with D&D Beyond so well that I don't understand why Wizards of the Coast just doesn't buy it from the guy who invented it, you know, who built it. It's like they're reinventing the wheel and they don't need to. But the only problem is it doesn't work with Apple products. So if you're using an iPad or something like that, it's not going to, and not, the only reason it doesn't work with Apple products is because Apple does not allow Chrome extensions on Chrome. It sucks. That's the only reason. Shelley, for high and low poly meshes, you can utilize masking. You can create a mesh with geometry path you want. It'll be helpful. Yeah, Shelley, that's true, but still, in my opinion, I retopologize my game characters by hand. You can guide ZRemesher to do what you want it to do, but it still will not give you the topology that's super clean that will deform well. Yeah, it's just Apple being Apple, you know. So if Apple products or, you know, would support that, then it would work just fine. I want these to go like this. There we go. Oh, so funny. Oh, I'm curious to see. It's fur texture. Yeah, it's fur. It's Chewbacca from Star Wars. He's furry. He's a Wookiee. And honestly, I'm just gonna draw it with the detail brush. Yeah, Steven, if you ever want me to show you, just DM me over on Discord, and I'll just pop it up and show you really quick. He's very much into physical maps, and yeah, that's fun too. I mean, if you're live, that's the best way to go. But well, you know what? I take that back. It's not the best way to go in my opinion, because math. Simply because of math. And I mean, I guess for the tabletop, it's fun, you know, using the Dwarven Forge stuff. It gives you, you know, a better kind of experience that way. But for, yeah, D&D Beyond, I love it because of math. It does all the math for you. And you can still use a combination, like you said, of D&D Beyond plus Dwarven Forge stuff, and you get the best of both worlds. But my DM now, Chris, sorry if I'm boring you guys with all this stuff. He really likes above ETT because he can just drop images in and just like if we encounter just some kind of creature, he'll just go find an image and just drop it in. It's like, you're fighting this now. No, I'll probably just do it by hand, honestly. Just draw all these lines just like the original illustrator did. I'll probably pull out a couple of these round hairs just to break the silhouette here and there. But for the most part, I'll just etch into the surface. Okay, I want to kind of stitch these legs together. I'll do it first with the legs. I'll do the treatment because he's got these kind of big furry, like the bottoms, well, the tops of his feet, I guess, the bottoms of his legs. Okay, so let's grab these. I'm going to split them off. Let's get them out of here. Let's do split hidden, arrow down, and then we'll merge these together. All right, while I'm doing this really quick too, I do offer a group coaching mentorship too. I don't advertise it, but if any of you are interested in taking things a little further, it's called the Acceleration Program. And if you want more feedback, I give weekly feedback sessions every Sunday for a couple hours. And I also have guest speakers come and talk to my students and give insights to the industry. This, I don't know if Jerome's still here, but this week was Jerome Ramp from Pixar. That was just absolutely crazy to check out. Okay. Yeah, super awe-inspiring. Okay, I'm gonna go remesh by union. Next week we have a guy from DreamWorks coming to talk. I call them fireside chats. Let's turn Sculptress back on and merge these together. Yeah, I'm an artist, not a mathematician. Okay, so for these feet, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it to the side and mask off an area. Let's do this lasso, mask lasso, kind of like this. And then just kind of pull it out. And if any of you are interested in that the group coaching stuff, you can reach out to me via email. You can just go to my website and there's a contact button. You can just click on that and that goes directly to me. You can ask me about it. Okay, for this I'm going to go a little lower with my Sculptress. A little too dense for my, that's too low. Why Sculptress over Dynamesh? No, ask away. That's what I'm here for, Mike. That's, yeah, ask away. So basically the reason for Sculptress Pro is because it's compartmentalized. It's very focused. So I can turn up and down the geometry in that specific area rather than rebuilding the entire mesh. So if I have any, like say creases or valleys or things like that, that I want to keep around, if I were to Dynamesh it, a lot of the time it will rebuild the mesh and it will kind of melt it a little bit. And it will also stitch together things that I don't want to be stitched together, whereas Sculptress Pro does not do that. Now the secret to using Sculptress Pro is to turn off, go to your stroke menu up here and go to Sculptress Pro and turn off adaptive size, which is turned on by default. And if you turn this off, then the size of the triangle is relative to your scene size. Otherwise, it's relative to your brush size. Some people like that, and you can leave it on if you like that. But for me, I like it to be tied to my scene size so then I can control it a lot better. When you say group, do you have to purchase it as a group? Oh, no. It's just for you. But when I coach as a group. It's not one-on-one. So it's like I review your stuff in front of others so they can benefit as well. And we also talk about industry stuff and just whatever people want to talk about. Okay. Snake hook. Yeah, just so you know, it is more expensive than my regular course because it is one-on-one, not one-on-one. It is group coaching. And you also have access to me during the week if you have questions. Yeah, Sculpt is like surgery, Dynamesh is like demolition and reconstruction. Yep, all in one button push, like boom. Yeah, and also Sculptress will build the geometry as you do things like this. Yeah, I'm pulling this out. That's why it's called dynamic topology. It's building the topology as I'm using it. And for some brushes, I'll turn that functionality off. Like if I'm pinching, like this pinch brush, I turn Sculptress off because I don't want it to kind of do both things at the same time, where it's pinching and creating geometry. That's too much. Okay, this is getting too uniform. I gotta break it up. I'm so bad at doing randomness. Okay, so let's unhide this and then pull it up and around the foot. And around the toes. What? I made it too big. Instead, I think I just need to make these feet bigger. I don't think they're big enough. Oh, got to turn on local symmetry. How long do you usually stream for? About 2 hours. So I stream from noon until 2 Pacific time. Sorry, noon. What'd I say? Noon to no 11 to 1 Pacific time. Sorry, it's noon to 2 my time. I'm in Mountain time, so that's noon to 2 my time. Oh, thanks, Neil. I really appreciate it. Just gonna get that wrapped around that toe. And then back on this ankle back here. Stephen, have you adopted the Sculptress Pro workflow? See, when I originally taught my course, I taught the Dynamesh workflow because Sculptress Pro didn't exist back then. Back in my day, we didn't have Sculptress Pro. We only had Dynamesh and we liked it. Okay, I'm gonna pull this kind of, I want it to hang down kind of over the foot right here. And on the inside and the back, just kind of Yeah, the acceleration program, it's a lot cheaper than college or a tech school. A lot cheaper, but it's more expensive than my regular course. I don't like to say the price on here because it could change. I think it's like the equivalent of one quarter full credits of college, I want to say. But it's a year access, not a quarter. Okay. I'm just going to color in this mouth. Yeah, Ian, that's true. That is very true. Ian is one of my acceleration program students. Ian is I am lone game master. Sorry, Ian, to call you out. Let me know if you don't want me to do that. I don't know. I need to look at some videos on it. Have you been playing it? I'm still too into well, I've been playing Pal World still and Diablo 4. I haven't had much time to do much of anything lately. I'm just doing caricatures. Just got into darker and darker with what? Oh, with Helldivers 2? That's a new game that just came out. Are you a Helldiver? Oh, scope. What did you say, Steven? I have not, mostly because I'm still primary. Okay, got it. Well, okay. Do you use dynamic topology or no? Over there, it's the same thing. Variation of the ZRemesher technique. Okay, got it. Want to buy it? Might wait a few days. I heard they just released a patch that did fix it, so you might want to look into that. I don't know though. Okay, so here's the feet. I think that's looking okay. It doesn't really have this tight seam though. I might get rid of it. Smooth that on out. Because I think most of the interest comes from the vertical lines. I'm also interested in Enshrouded. I just like those kinds of games. They're like RPG survival, kind of like Grounded or Valheim, where you just kind of go gather resources and build a base and then go out hunting. It's just kind of what I like to do. Okay. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do it in, I'll just show you guys how I usually do it. Okay, I was thinking about doing it with the Sculptris Pro. You can, but sometimes it won't give you enough geometry to do surface detail with. Like if I go to cut lines in, see, it's not that great. So instead, what I'm going to do is ZRemesh this. Now there's a issue with players not receiving XP. Oh, apparently the issue is there are just too many players. I heard they knocked Power World off the podium of most players. Nanotopo is useful. I tend to want to jump straight from blocked out to a proper. Yeah. I'm with you there, man. And plus, in that other software, it tends to kick you out of Dino Topo a lot. Like, without you knowing it, just like, boop, you're out, you know? I find that a lot, and I find it annoying. I want to give him a little kind of a sharpish knee. Okay, now let's ZRemesh this. I should probably save this. I haven't saved it for a while. Yeah. But even when you're using brushes that are, I don't know what it is about it. It just tends to kind of boot you out. Okay, I should probably stop talking about that. Okay, let's go. Let's do 2000 poly count and hit ZRemesher, see what it gives us. Okay, I figured it would give me most of the grief around these little fur nubbins. That's their official term, fur nubbins. Not too bad though. I think that'll work. So now that I have this, I'm gonna go grab this color. Whenever you ZRemesh, it gets rid of your poly paint because it's basically rebuilding your whole mesh, and it gets rid of it. So I think you can turn on poly paint, like keep anyway. So basically now we have this lower resolution mesh, and I'm going to actually subdivide it for real. I'm not going to use dynamic subdivisions. I'm going to hit Control D, 1, 2, up to about 1 million or so polys. You can see it says 1.92 million. And this will give us a much better resolution. Mike, that sounds horrible. The B word. Okay, now I'm going to turn off Sculptus Pro. I don't want Sculptus Pro with multi-resolution. Now you can see we get much tighter lines. And then you can kind of draw it on the surface. But this material isn't giving me the best lighting situation where I can see what I'm actually doing. And I might carve these in. We'll do some tests here. Oh, 20. Okay. Thanks, Neil. All right. Yeah, I'm still in 2022. Just for plugin reasons, not because I don't like it. I have it. But okay. What am I doing? I don't need a plugin. I need a different shader. I have not brought my shaders over from my other. Here, I'm going to go load. I'm going to go load a material. I'll be right back here. Man, I might have gotten rid of them. I'm gonna have to go get them again. I got rid of them. Goodness. Okay, well, I'll just use what I got. Okay, I can use, let's see, what gives us the best? You know what's funny is red wax actually gives you the best. I hate the whole red wax stigma, but it does show you the peaks and valleys really well. Let's see what else does. Some of these sketch ones actually do like sketch shade 4. Like this one right here. Let's try this one. See, you can kind of see it. It gives you this kind of a look, and when you cut into it with like the detail brush, you can really see it. See that? So I think I'll use that just for funsies. And then I just kind of, let's do this in a layer. When I'd like to do surface details, sometimes I don't use layers very often unless I'm doing surface details. So you just come to layers, add a layer with this button, and make sure you're in record mode. And then you can just start laying in a bunch of these little lines like this. My watch is telling me it's time to stand up. You've been sitting too long. You're gonna get blood clots. Yeah, just essentially just draw them in just like the original illustrator did. if we're not going to behave and not discuss the multi-res modifier. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I have opinions on that too. It doesn't work the same. Sometimes I have a hard time not being uniform. Like I said earlier, just like subdividing ZBrush. Sometimes yep, and it just locks you out of a lot of stuff. Like multi-resolution just locks you out just by default. And this is basically it. You just kind of take your time and draw in a bunch of lines, kind of like the original illustration. Just try and make it look and feel like that as much as you can. I could put a few reverse ones in, like pull them, since it's 3D, pull some out, like towards me, like this. It'll give me this kind of highlight. But I think I'm just going to go keep to the original. Stephen, well, I shouldn't put you on the spot. I should talk to you later. I was just going to ask you if you ended up in the industry working somewhere. I'm trying to remember. But we can talk about it later. It's kind of tedious drawing all these little lines, but it's kind of fun and therapeutic in a way. Kind of like doing a retopology or UVs or something like that. There you have it. Hairy legs. This shader is really interesting. So if I go back to skin shade 4, they'll all but disappear, kind of. See that? So what you can do is you can do like a cavity mask and fill them in with a darker color to make them pop. Yeah, there's a few things you can do to make them work. But now that these lines are all on a layer, oh, his knees. Yeah, I got to pull those out. Thanks. I can turn this recording off and I can actually hide this layer and see all the detail goes away. All of the detail is held in this layer right now. And what's interesting, this my buddy Brad Bollinger showed me this, is you can duplicate this layer. So see there's this duplicate layer down here. And what it'll do is it'll stack the two layers on top of each other and essentially double what you've done. So all these cuts, say if you need them, in the industry, we call it punch the detail. If you need to punch the detail, just duplicate a layer. And look at that, it's like twice as detailed. You can also invert. So if I hide one, you get this little slider. You can go down to 0, which is no effect, but you can also take it the inverse, and it pushes it out the opposite direction. So now you have all the lines sticking out instead of in. But for this, we're going to go in. Crack his knees, Johnny. Give him some cement galoshes. All right. So with this top one being recorded, looks like it killed my poly paint. I'm going to turn that off for a second and refill it with color. I don't like to put color on these layers. I like to just do sculpted detail. Okay, but I do like that, and I'm going to merge those two together. I think I can just merge it down. Select down. I'm trying to remember. Merge down right there. So now both of those layers are now just one layer. Now I can hit record. And then I'm going to use my detail brush, but I'm going to pull this knee joint out towards us. just to give us that nice change in direction. Maybe even cut into the top right there. And I don't like how this is bumping out, so I'm just going to use my move brush to push it down kind of flat so it's not bumping out. That's it. All right, well, we got about 5 minutes left. I think I'm going to end it here. Maybe I'll merge the upper arm into the lower arm really quick. Let's see if it's part of anything else. Yep, it is. Okay. Hide this, hide that. Split hidden. And then do a remesh by union. And then turn symmetry back on, and then we can turn Sculptris Pro back on. And then just kind of blend this down. So that's another reason, is it Mike? Yeah, check it out, Mike. So when you use remesh by union rather than Dynamesh, it will maintain your crispy edges, which Dynamesh would just melt. So this is a fantastic, so between Sculptris Pro and remesh by union, that's my new workflow that I use for everything. And what's nice also is with Sculptris Pro, you can decimate your surface. So if you're getting too heavy with your decimation, you can always, or too heavy with your Sculptris Pro, you can always decimate. And since it's just using triangles anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll hold on to all your detail and just reduce the detail in the areas that are, you don't need it in. It's really nice. So, okay, so I'm just going to hit it with a little more detail here. Kind of blend this out. Same kind of thing. And with this, again, it looks like I got a hole of some sort. Let's fix those. I'm just going to Z-remesh these hands just like we did with the feet. Just going through and fixing those little holes. Okay. Let's see what we get with our Z-remesh. So let's do about 3 this time. That's 3,000 polys to Z-remesh these arms with. And the reason why is just because it has these fingers, and I want to make sure it has enough geometry to hold those fingers. And it looks like it did a good job. Subdivide, subdivide, subdivide up to, it's 1.5 million now. And again, add a layer, put it in record, and just go to town. Putting in new, turn off Sculptris, putting in new details. And again, going back to that sketch shade 4, so we can actually see what we're doing. And then just kind of cutting in a bunch of fur lines. Rinse and repeat, and I would do the same thing to that body. Looks like the body kind of has 2 layers of hairs. And I'm not going to put the hair, give him hairy palms. Whoops. Sometimes ZBrush will do that. It'll just kind of do some squirrely random line like that. See that? Zoop. Just undo it and do it again. There's no rhyme or reason for it other than it just kind of hiccups sometimes. You just undo it and move on. Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something today. And again, if you want my brushes and my ruler file, you can go get that. On my website, it just says free brushes, but it does include the ruler and my user interface and my custom menu, which is right here. You get all those things for free. Just over on my website. And again, I have an online course called the 3D Character Workshop where I show you how to sculpt characters like this one. Over 2,000 people have purchased that thing over the last 6 years. Crazy. Hey, Jerome. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, Jerome, this shader might work for you for your highs and lows other than that red wax, and then you can kind of see your color too. I just thought about that. So, all right, you guys. Have a wonderful week. And I hope to catch you all next Monday when we may or may not continue this guy and probably start a new one. Neat is every time I do this, I always see stuff I got to fix. But yep, you're welcome, everyone. Thank you and happy sculpting. We'll see you all next Monday. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you. Cheers. Oh, I don't know, Neil. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, if it is President's Day Monday, I might not stream. We'll see. All right. Thanks.